Moi, today I'm going to talk to you about Finland, about a few things I noticed while I was living there, and I might compare it with France because I come from France, so it's basically the only thing I know. So let's do this. First, the language. So first, when I hear that language, it was really strange for me because when I was in high school and school, I was studying Spanish and Italian and French, of course. So only Latin language. So it was the first time I was not listening to Latin language, and it was really strange because it's very, very different. And at first it was like, for my ear, it was ugly and strange and not usual, but then I started learning it and loving it, and now I really enjoy the sound of this language. And it's a really difficult language to learn. I tried my best for 1 year, but I think in my future life I will try again to learn more about the Finnish language because it's really interesting. Each word has 15 ways to be said, so it's a lot of words in a lot of ways, so it's really interesting, and the sound is so different than what you can hear. I couldn't really explain, but it's really nice. Once one of my friends told me it looked like the language in Avatar, the movie, the Na'vi language, because it's so strange, but also it's pretty, so it's a good language. But it's something I noticed in Finland. It's the language because it's strange and different from what I know. Second, the personal space. In Finland, you have to know that the personal space is something really important for Finnish people. I'm French, so I'm used to say, when I'm saying hello to someone, to do the la bise, so the kisses on the cheeks, and some people may hug each other or shaking hands, but in Finland you don't really have physical touch contact, so it can be really, really awkward if you come to a Finnish guy or girl or anywhere and you try to say hello by doing the kisses on the cheek. It's gonna be really, really awkward for you and also for the Finnish person because they're not used to that kind of physical contact. In the personal space, you have to respect the fact that when you speak to a Finnish person, you have to be a certain distance, like more than 1 meter. I couldn't say really the real distance. 3, being polite. You have to be on time because it's rude if you're late. In France, when you're invited somewhere, at a place, a house, dinner, party, something like this, usually we are late because it's more polite to be 15 minutes late if the person that invited you needs time to finishing preparing everything. But in Finland you have to be on time. If you're not, it's just rude. In Finland they don't really like French, Spanish, Italian because we are always late. But yeah, it's something I noticed because it's the first faux pas I did. 4, respect the rule. For example, when you have light traffic, you have to wait until, when you're a pedestrian, you have to wait until the small person become green to cross the road because you have to respect the law. The law say you have to wait until the little person became green. So in Finland they are really, really respecting this. And you also, because you can have a fee if you're not respecting this. So in France we are sometimes crossing the road anywhere, and it's basically not the thing you have to do. Usually you have to respect the law, but yeah, in France sometimes we are not doing it. 5, the traffic lights during the night. So during the night the traffic lights are switched off because I think it's for economic and environmental reason, because it's not for using too much energy, because a lot of roads are not used during the night, so they just switch off those, and the main roads are still in service, but it depends. 6, the traffic jam. Basically, you don't have it in Finland. 7, Finland is an environmental friendly country. When I was living there, I noticed that a lot of things are made to be more ecological or environmental friendly. And it's really nice to see that because I think in France we are not that much like this, and they are having they are eating a lot of bio food, ecological food. They are trying to eat local food and local product. They are trying to consume less energy with sun panels, and also avoiding taking planes, or mostly because I was speaking with Finnish people and they were saying to me that they were trying to reduce their consumption of bad food or plane or everything like this. So it's really interesting to see that, because in France we don't really have that kind of action. Yeah, we don't really have that in France. So it's really interesting, and I think it made me think about the fact that I should maybe change my way to consume. And also something I noticed is that there are a lot of vegan, vegetarian food restaurant, and it's not like in France you don't have, like, when you're going to the restaurant you can ask something vegetarian and you have a piece of meat in it, because they don't really care. So it's really nice to be in Finland for that, also because you can change your way to consume and being more ecological and everything, so it's nice. 8. The toilets. So the toilets in Finland are not quite the same than in France. In France we just have the basic toilet, the normal one with the toilet paper. But in Finland you have something more. You have a kind of small shower in the toilet you can use to clean yourself. I think it's like in Asian country you can find those kind of really intelligent toilet that can wash your stuff and everything. But in Finland you have this, so maybe it's cleaner, or I don't know, but they are having this. And also I think in other Nordic countries, at least in Norway when I went there, there were those kind of toilets. 9. The working hours. So I noticed that at 4 p.m. everybody is just leaving work. It was strange for me at first, because I worked for 2 years for a huge company in France, and we used to have, like, the latest working hours were until 7 p.m. So I was working until 6 p.m. So I was a bit shocked when I came to Finland and I saw, like, people just leaving at 4 p.m. That's really early. So yeah, usually the work finish at 4 p.m. but I think it depends on what kind of work you're doing. But for people working in offices, usually it was at 4. 10. The food. The food is not that different in Finland than in France, but they're using more local products and more biological and bio and ecological products. But also they are eating a lot of potatoes and also a lot of milk for every, at least for lunch. From what I saw at lunch, they are drinking milk, not water but milk, so it was a bit strange for me. And also they love licorice, so it's really strange for me, because in France usually nobody likes licorice, but in Finland they are eating a lot of licorice and you can find it everywhere. And it's not just sweet licorice like in France, it's sour licorice, salty licorice, so it can be strange. Also you can find licorice in alcohol, so you have salmiakki, that it's really good alcohol, but it's only like licorice, liquid licorice kind of, but it's really nice if you want to do shots with it. I tried and it was really nice. Fazer is a huge company in Finland, I suppose, and they are doing chocolate, and it's really good chocolate. And also they are doing sweets and I think biscuits and a lot of things, but for the chocolate it's so good. 11. The alcohol. I didn't notice that at first, but in Finland you can't buy alcohol anywhere. You have to go to specialized shops named Alko, and it's the place where you can find all the alcohol, and you have to be 18 if you want to buy wine and beer, I think. And if you want to have strong alcohol, you have to be 21 or 20. I can't really remember, but something like this. So it's really controlled, and you have to go with your ID. You can't really buy it in the mall. You have to go to those specialized shops. And in the mall, you may be surprised because they are having wine without alcohol and alcohol without alcohol. So it's really strange. it's really expensive to buy alcohol, so usually our tip for exchange student was to buy it when we were traveling at the duty free because it was cheaper. Also, something about the alcohol is that in Finland I noticed that a lot of people were drinking. In France we are drinking for sure, and when you're looking at the statistic, we are drinking more than Finnish people. I think it's maybe because a lot of people, like our grandparents or parents or maybe us, I don't know, I'm not doing this, but a lot of people are drinking 1 glass of wine at each meal, so it counts on it. And also we are doing apéro, a lot of apéro, and we are drinking usually alcohol during apéro. So yeah, we are drinking constantly, kind of. So I was saying, I'm really not judging people drinking, because everybody's drinking, I'm drinking, you're drinking, so everybody is drinking alcohol. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are drinking alcohol. But in Finland I noticed that a lot of people were doing it to get wasted, and it was kind of new for me, because in France we are drinking alcohol like just to enjoy all together and being with friends and everything, not to get wasted necessarily. I think it's in Finland that I saw the highest number of wasted people in the streets. 12. The nightclubs. If you like to party and to dance and to enjoy and everything, going to nightclubs with your friend, you have to know that in Finland I noticed that nightclubs close at 3 or 4 a.m. So it's really early, because in France they are closing at 6 a.m. usually, most of the time. So in Finland it was really early for us every time, but if you have friends you can do like an after party and everything. So about the nightclubs, you can find in most of them a room just dedicated to karaoke. So a lot of people like and enjoy karaoke in Finland. We are not that much in France, and usually if you want to do karaoke you can go to specialized places, but in Finland you can find in maybe all the nightclubs a room where you can do karaoke. 13. The Moomin. The Moomin is a character from a cartoon you can find in Finland, and I think it's an Asian cartoon at the beginning, but Finnish people really love this character, and you can find it in a lot of things, and they are selling a lot of items with this character, the Moomin, in it. There is also a museum in Tampere you can find about Moomin history, and you can find Moomin on biscuits and I think candies and chocolate and everything. So it's a really huge thing in Finland. 14. Animals. In France I'm living with 1 dog and 2 cats, so I was used to have animals near to me. And when I came to Finland I was kind of surprised, because I didn't see that much of animals in the street, like no cats and maybe sometimes dogs with their master, but it was really rare. And yeah, usually it was really unusual to see animals in the street. And one of my friends told me it was because in Finland usually animals, I don't know if it's a law or something, but it's not really common to have an animal when you're living in a city, because they are made to live in the nature, so usually you can find them in the countryside. And also one, I think it's the main reason, is that cats, most of the cats and other animals, don't survive during the winter time because it's too cold for them. 15. The Finns. So Finns, it's for Finnish people, and something I noticed about them, it's at first they are really shy and really cold, but they are very nice people, and you can go to them if you have any question, if you're lost or something, and they're going to help you like really kindly and warmly. They made to appear as cold and shy and sarcastic people, but they're very nice. And the Finnish people I met during my stay in Finland were so nice. But at the beginning they seems to be cold, but then when you first try to learn about them and start talking with them, you discover that they are like crazy people and so funny people. 16. The weather. In the south of France we don't have really cold winter, and usually it's just raining in spring and autumn. In winter it's just kind of cold, like 0 degree, and that's it. And in summer it's just really hot. But in Finland it was completely different. Even if I was living in the south of Finland, the weather was just something else, completely different than in France. The summer in Finland is quite long, and the autumn and spring are very short, and the winter is long and really long. And it's really cold also in winter. It's always minus something, like -15 or -10 or -20, it depends. And yeah, you have to get used to the cold. And for my part, because I hate being hot, it was perfect. And I really enjoyed being cold, except once when I went to Lapland during Christmas. It was really cold, like -26 something. I think it was the first time in my life I was so cold, like really cold. The most cold I could ever been in my entire life, because even if I had protection, I was just freezing. So it's not because I'm saying this that you don't have to go to Lapland, it's something you should do. But yeah, it's something about the weather. It's really cold, and also you don't have that much of sun. If you're going to Lapland in December, for example, you don't have sun at all, because it's too high on the planet for the sun to reach this part of the planet. So basically you don't see the sun for a month. And in the south we had like 5 hours of sun per day for a certain period of time. So the sun was up from 10 AM till 3 PM usually, so it was really short time, and it was just dark, not like really sunny moment, but just dark. So it was strange, but it was a kind of new experience. So yeah, it's something I noticed about the weather. It's dark during winter and really cold, and you start saying stuff like, oh, today it's just -10, and it's not normal to say that. And or when you come back to the 0 degrees or the positive temperature, it's just like, oh, it's really hot. But no, it's not really hot, it's just cold, but it's less cold. So it's strange, but it's fun. And yeah, you compare it to France, it's nothing alike, because in France we don't have like snow. In the south we have like 1 day per year of snow, and that's it, and usually it's not that much. So yeah, it's really different than France. They have a lot of equipment to clean the roads, putting sand and everything on the floor, so you can just walk on the street, and never mind if it's snowing or not. So it's really convenient when you have to walk. You're on Erasmus and you have to walk everywhere because you don't have a car, so it's really convenient. And if you compare it to France, when we have in Montpellier the only day per year with snow, it's just the end of the world. So it's really fun, and it's really okay to live in Finland even if it's cold. 17. The sauna. So the sauna is something traditional in Finland. It's the place where you can meet a lot of people, and you can gather with your friend, family, and you can speak like freely. For my part, I hate being hot, like I said earlier, so it was kind of difficult for me to go to the sauna at the beginning. The first one I think is the worst one, and then it's just okay. The main thing about the sauna is the feeling you feel afterwards. I mean, when you're going to the sauna, first you're going to the sauna, the place where it's hot, and it's between like 80 and 100 degrees, so it's really hot. And then you're going out, and usually you're going to a frozen lake, you're going in the water. There are holes, you can go inside and you dip in the cold water. Usually it's between 0 and 4 degrees, so it's really cold. And then you just run to go inside the sauna again, and then you're doing it again. So usually we were doing it 3 times in a row, and we were spending like the afternoon or the evening at the sauna because it was like really good. And then after doing this, you're just feeling like so relaxed and so good to do this. because it's good for your body, it's good for your health, it's good for everything, and you're feeling so good afterwards. So there are a lot of sauna in Finland. I think it's like 1 every 3 inhabitants, so it's a lot. And it's something you can see a lot in Finland. People are doing sauna, Finnish people. It's not just a fairy tale or something everybody's saying it's cliche or something. It's just a real thing. So sauna are really important, and you have to be careful when you're doing sauna because you have to be with someone. It can be dangerous when you're going to the cold water. For example, when I went to Lapland, it was the first time I was going to the frozen lake after doing a sauna. So I went there, but the stairs were frozen, so I just felt like my foot just ripped and I fell in the frozen lake, and I just like freeze instantly because it was so cold, and I couldn't really speak because the fact that I fell in the lake, it just took my breath. So I was trying to speak and I couldn't move, and so my friend just tried to, like, they understand something went wrong, so they took me out of the water. But after that I was doing it again and I was careful, and it was really nice to do that, and you're feeling so good afterwards. You don't necessarily have to go to the frozen lake, you can just go to the snow, or you can usually there are showers and you can just put like cold water on you, or it's just up to you. It depends on each person how they react to the sauna. They don't have to stay long. Like if your friends are staying 15 minutes and you can handle 5 minutes, it's okay. You can just go out and wait, it's okay. Like nobody is going to judge. So yeah, that's it. Sauna was really good. Last but not least, the 18th one is the fact that Finland is a really safe country. The safety in Finland is nothing alike with France, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, so nobody is going to judge, or I'm not judging France or anything, but I've lived in France for my entire life and I just lived for 1 year in Finland, and I can tell that Finland is a really safe country. I was living in the ghetto of Finland, so it was the most kind of dangerous neighborhood in Finland, but it was just so calm and I never had any trouble there, and it was, I don't know, nothing like with a ghetto you can find in France. So it was fun to see people, Finnish people, saying, yeah, it's the ghetto, Varissuo, it's the ghetto, and when you compare it with the ghetto in France, it's nothing alike. So in Finland, it's a really good country if you want to be safe and feeling safe. So the safety is really important to me because I realized while I was living in Finland that France is not that safe for women at least, because when we can't walk alone in the street and not being scared of someone going to try to talk to you, or someone's going to try to do something to you. And in Finland you don't have this feeling. You can walk at 3, 4, 1 a.m. you don't care, anytime, and nobody's going to talk to you. And even if you're alone, even if you're dressing like I don't know, and nobody's going to talk to you because it's not normal for you to feel unsafe. So I think it's something you can find in the Finnish society. It's like this, they just know it's like this. You can't, for them it's not normal to annoy a woman, and it's okay, it's normal. But in France it's just normal in our society to be a woman and being scared when you walk alone in the streets, and it's not normal. A good thing about Finland is the safety. And that's it for this video. So I think I said the main thing I noticed about Finland, and that's it. I may have other examples I could tell, but it will be too long I think. So I hope you enjoyed this video and see you soon. Bye.